The absolute worst defense in the entire league last year is now the only thing standing between us and a deep playoff run. And if our former first-round left tackle can't stay on the field, we might be looking at a completely reshuffled offensive line by training camp. But the real shocker is exactly how this coaching staff plans to unleash our newest defensive weapons. Before we dive into this absolute madness, do me a massive favor and smash that like button, share this video with a fellow diehard fan, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Listen, I need to get something off my chest right now because the comments have been driving me absolutely crazy. People keep screaming that we don't need to spend premium draft capital on a franchise quarterback because, historically, our best guys have come from nowhere. Yes, Tony Romo was an undrafted miracle out of the boonies of Wisconsin. And look, I love Romo, but is he the undisputed greatest in our franchise's history? That is highly debatable. Top 3. Absolutely. But the best? No way. Then you have Dak Prescott, a fourth-round absolute steal. But here is the brutal, frustrating reality that so many fans want to completely ignore. For every Dak or Romo, there is a massive graveyard of late-round picks and undrafted free agents who never even saw the field. We are talking about guys like Stephen McGee and Ben DiNucci. You cannot build a consistent winning franchise relying on lottery tickets. Does drafting a quarterback in the top 10 guarantee a Hall of Famer? Of course not. The bust rate is terrifying everywhere. But your odds of landing a true game-changer skyrocket when you invest a premium pick. You have to have the right ecosystem and the right development process, but banking on getting incredibly lucky over and over again in the late rounds is a recipe for absolute disaster. Are we really willing to bet the future of our franchise on finding a diamond in the rough just because lightning struck twice before? Speaking of free agency gambles, my timeline has been flooded with one name, Najee Harris. Everyone wants to know if we are going to swoop in and sign him. Let me pour a little bit of cold water on that excitement. Honestly, I do not see it happening right now. You have to look at the current state of our running back room. If the front office decides to pull the trigger on a veteran like Najee, it is not going to be in May. It is going to be a late July or early August panic move. Why? Because the coaching staff is going to evaluate guys like Malik Davis first. If Malik regresses, or if an injury completely derails the backfield, then they will look at the veteran market and admit they don't trust the young guys. Plus, if you are Najee Harris, why would you sign right now? You are going to wait patiently for a premier opportunity where you can actually get serious touches, not just be an emergency backup plan. So, grab your popcorn, because the running back drama is just getting started. So here is my official question of the day for you guys: would you sign Najee Harris right now to save this backfield, or do you roll with what we already have? Drop a Y for yes or an N for no down in the comments section below. Now, let's talk about the absolute elephant in the room, the offensive line. We are entering year 3 for Tyler Guyton, and let me tell you, this is unequivocally a make-or-break year. When you draft a developmental left tackle in the first round, you know it takes time. But the frustration is hitting a boiling point. Guyton was genuinely playing some fantastic football down the stretch last year. Before he got hurt, we saw the absolute best version of him, and the offense deeply missed his presence. But the brutal truth: the best ability is availability. If you cannot stay healthy, I cannot trust you. If we get to mid-July and he rolls an ankle and is out for another 2 months, that is a terrifying pattern. The coaching staff knows that if Guyton doesn't take a massive leap, or worse, if he regresses, we are going to be desperately begging for offensive line help in 2027. If the absolute worst-case scenario happens and Guyton goes down, who is protecting the blind side? If we adopt a best 5 mentality, you are looking at Tyler Smith kicking out, flanked by T.J. Bass, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker, and Terrence Steele. That is your core. Long term, you'd love for a young guy like Drew Shelton or Nathan Thomas to step up. But I am going to be brutally honest, I hated what I saw from Nathan Thomas last season. It was a disaster. And Drew Shelton. Classic front office talk where they claim they had a second-round grade on a fourth-round pick. Shelton needs serious time in the weight room before he is physically ready. Short term, Tyler Smith is our savior on the left side, but long term, we desperately need Guyton to finally become the guy. While we are on the topic of the field, some of you heading to the game in Houston have asked if there are any chaotic new rule changes this year. Honestly, nothing drastic. The biggest shakeup was the kick return rule a couple of years ago, but from a fan perspective, the game is mostly going to look exactly the same as you remember it. Let's flip the script to the defensive side of the ball, because my anxiety levels are already through the roof. We had the literal worst defense in the NFL last season. It was an absolute embarrassment. So when fans tell me this unit is going to be a top 10 juggernaut this year, I have to take a step back. I love the optimism, but going from historically bad to top 10 is a monumental leap. If they can just drag themselves up to the top 20, or maybe top 15, this is a playoff-bound team instantly because of how explosive our offense is. A huge part of this defensive rebuild hinges on the new blood. Take Siobhan Revel Jr., our third-round corner out of ECU. A lot of fans are already panicking about him, saying he looks terrible or that they are completely done with him. Look, take a deep breath. I have watched countless rookies look utterly lost for 7 games and then suddenly flip a switch. He is not guaranteed a starting spot, especially with Darren Bland locked in. But Revel was drafted as the ultimate insurance policy against injuries. I am not throwing in the towel on him until we see actual, full-speed training camp reps. Then there is our prized rookie linebacker, Jyshawn Barham. People are already asking if he is going to wear the green dot and call the defense. Let's pump the brakes. He was a later third-round pick. The physical upside is incredibly obvious. You split him out wide to create absolute matchup nightmares for slow linebackers and small safeties, but you keep him in the tight end room. The real question with Trigg isn't his talent, it's whether he can put everything together off the field and become a reliable professional. We have a solid history of finding hidden gems at the tight end position with undrafted free agents, but Trigg isn't a hidden diamond, he is a flashing neon sign of potential that just needs the right coaching to finally glow. So, when we look at this roster from top to bottom, what is the final verdict? Is this a playoff team? Barring a catastrophic wave of injuries, the expectation absolutely has to be playoffs. Anything less would be an undeniable failure. No, I am not predicting a magical Super Bowl run because asking a team with a historically bad defense to suddenly win it all is pure fantasy. But with this explosive offense and even a reasonable fraction of improvement on defense with a new coordinator, this team is built to play in January. So, tell me honestly in the comments, do you think this roster is finally capable of a deep playoff run, or are we staring down the barrel of another heartbreaking season?